I'm back on Dartmoor. That hill just over, just there, is Stall Down Barrow, and this is a stone row. You can only see a few of them here, but they do extend quite a little distance in the other direction. And I'll be heading across here. Let's just have a quick look at the map for Stall Moor, over Lankum Head, towards Great Nat's Head, Crane Hill, and then about the Crane Hill area, that's where I'll turn east for Cater's Beam, Naker's Hill and Riders Hill. Same walk as I did 2 weeks ago, if I can. That hill right on the horizon is the hill that I'll be walking along when I turn east. So Riders Hill is sort of somewhere, we can't see it from here, but somewhere over, way over there. Okay, this is Fledge Brook that runs down here. And I took some water from just the other side of those trees, and I'll probably need to drink that soon. I've still got this water here. The last time I did this walk, I walked across the top of this hill. I didn't actually come down into this brook, so I didn't actually see any water until I was near Riders Hill. This time I just sort of accidentally on purpose came in this direction, still heading the same way. Right, at the moment I'm having to walk through this quite deep grass here. Thankfully it's dry, so that's making it okay, although I have a horrible feeling if we'd have had a lot of rain this would have been very wet. And I will admit it was a minor navigational error which brought me here. Although, in all honesty, once I knew that I'd gone wrong, I decided to cut a corner, and cutting the corner has brought me through here. So I sort of brought myself through here. But I got up to Head, or the top of Lankum. Yeah, I think I got to the top of Lankum Head, and I should have been going north or slightly northwest for Head, and I have a horrible feeling, well, I was going northeast. For some reason, rather than going that way, I was going this way, and that took me down to a stream or a small river, which I must admit, again, I should have realised that there was a minor error, because if you go along Head, that's the highest dip that you come to, and there certainly shouldn't be any water there. But I must admit, that never occurred to me. Obviously wasn't thinking. So it wasn't long after that I said that something did start to ring a bell. So I checked my compass thinking, right, I should be going north, and of course I seemed to be going more sort of northeast or east. So that's when I suddenly thought, hang on a minute, something's not right here. So I knew where Head was, because when you're down on this side of the valley down here, the highest point on your left is always going to be the hills that I was walking on, and somehow I'd come off them, and obviously I wasn't paying attention, and in coming off them, as I say, I headed out towards Green Hill. So I then got to Green Hill, and I started thinking there, oh no, when I got to, no, I didn't quite get to Green Hill. I was just east of Green Hill on a mark of 460 meters, and I'd measured 460 meters on my watch, and I double checked with the GPS, and I was just slightly west, or sorry, just slightly east. I was slightly east of Green Hill. So I thought, right, I can either head for Naker's Hill, which is this hill here, and then over to Riders Hill, or we just go straight to Riders Hill, which is this one straight through there. But of course that takes us right through Fish Lake Riders Mire. So that, I think, is what all this thick deep grass is. So it's just tough going and very spongy, but I think because it's so dry, I think it would have been a lot worse if it had been wet. So I don't think I'll be coming this way again. So again, lesson learned, concentrate, because even though it's broad daylight and you think you know where you're going, it just shows it is easy to make a slight error. And as I say, in this valley you can't really go too far wrong, because you know if you're this side of the hill over here, you're inside the valley on this side, and if you go too far north, then you're going to go down a valley on the other side, and that would then take you sort of, well, towards Hexworthy and that sort of thing. So, you know, so you always know approximately where you are as long as you're inside the valley and you don't go over for each side. So as I say, it's just a lesson there, just to, you know, concentrate on where you're going. And I spend too much time looking down at my feet rather than looking around me. And I know I'm really guilty for that, but that's why I never fall over. I find it really difficult to keep looking up. I must admit, all my life I've sort of walked looking down a bit, and I must admit out here it is, to me it's a benefit because I can see where I'm putting my feet, but it does mean that I'm not, sometimes not concentrating on what's around me. So Riders Hill is in that direction through this thankfully dry swampy grass. Right, that's Papa's Hill. And when I was here 2 weeks ago, I made one navigational error, and that was from Papa's Hill. I walked to those rocks over there, because I didn't look at the map, and I started walking down the other side towards trees, and then I suddenly thought that didn't seem right, so I quickly checked, and within 5 or 10 minutes it was easy to sort myself out, come back up and follow this path down the way that I want to go, which will take me over to the reservoir over there. So the interesting thing is, I made one tiny navigational error in easy terrain 2 weeks ago when I'd never been, well, I had been here, but not for a hell of a long time. And this time I sort of went a bit more askew over that way, thinking that I knew where I was going because I'd been here before. But it just shows, unless you actually know the area really well, like I know the north pretty well now, I'd find it difficult to get lost up on the North Moors. Down here, not that I was lost, but I certainly wasn't going the way that I wanted to go. As I say, it was easy to sort out, but it just shows, you know, you do have to keep an eye on the map and use the compass if you're not 100% sure. And of course, if you think you're going the right, I mean, I thought I was going the right way. That's the strange thing. So anyway, we're heading in that direction there. So I suppose the moral of the story is, even if you think you're going the right way, unless you know the area really well, then, you know, keep a bit of a closer eye on the map. And particularly if you start crossing a stream that you sure as hell should not be crossing, that should be ringing alarm bells, which it did about 10 minutes later. Right, Some of you may think he hasn't gone and got another shelter. Well, no. And some of you of course will recognise this. So those that don't recognise this, go back to I think maybe November 2011. Yes, really as long ago as that. And you'll see at least one or two videos, and maybe very early 2012 you'll see some very early videos of this Mountain Oil Designs Grace Solo tarp. I got it at the time because I fancied it, and I must admit I've never had the chance, or maybe I should say the balls, to bring it out. But I have this time. On this occasion, last time, if you remember, I had a base weight of 3.6 kilograms. This time I've got my base weight down to 3 kilograms. Last time my skin out weight was just a tad under 8 kilograms. This time it's a tad under 7 kilograms. So in total, this trip from 2 weeks ago, I've saved a kilogram, and in my pack I've saved 600 grams. So 600 grams saved in my pack, and obviously 400 grams saved elsewhere. Partly food, partly shoes. So that's approximately how that's worked out. I did check the forecast, and the forecast was for light showers during the night with maybe fog in the morning. So if it had been as good a weather as last time, then I would have brought the poncho again. But I really wanted to do another lightweight walk. This will almost certainly be the last one this year, with this really hot weather probably ending soon. So I really wanted to try and get out and get the weight down as sort of, comfortably and safely as I could. And I think I've done that. So obviously the tarp is the first thing that I've brought. Rather than the full head netted bivvy, I've brought the Superlight Bivi. The other one of course is Superlight, but this is the Cuben based Superlight with the very, very small window in it. I needed some, I'm not a big fan, as some of you may know, of bivvies. I don't really want to be shut up. Ha ha, I heard that. But if I'm under a shelter, I'd rather have nature around me rather than, shutting myself inside something. But obviously, two reasons. One, there could be bugs, although with this breeze I doubt many. And of course, if it did rain, whilst I'm sure the tarp will give plenty of protection, it just seemed prudent to bring the bivvy on this occasion. And it's lighter, so, winning all around there. I have the NeoAir X-Lite in small. This I did get from Amazon a couple of weeks ago, I must admit, and that's about 208 grams. I'm afraid I actually know the weight of that, and that is about 100 grams lighter than the NeoAir ProLite small. So I've saved weight on both of those things there. The bivvy is about 50 grams lighter, this is about 100 grams lighter. I did not bring my my down coat. I brought a down vest with me, so that's saved some weight. And I've saved a bit of weight on my cook kit, which I can show you later. So as I say, all in all, I've reduced the carrying weight down quite considerably. I'm not sure if I'll be able to get it a hell of a lot lower. I'm hoping Ron might do a Cuben fibre pack, so if he does, that will save a bit of weight. And I have ordered from him one of his quilts, which is lighter than my sleeping bag. So, but again, I've ordered it, but I won't get it for many months. And of course, it'll be probably too cold to use it this year. But I'd rather get it now for various reasons, and then I've got it for next year if I don't get to use it this year. Well, my cook kit comprises my Evernew 600ml pot with the lid. You could probably save a bit of weight on the lid, but I'm not quite that mad yet. 1 spoon. Time will tell whether I really regret only bringing 1 spoon, so I must admit I've always brought 2 spoons with me, but I've just got 1 spoon. Sidewinder cone from Trowel Designs, and a small meths pot, or small meths cooker, and all that fits inside the pot. And that's my cook kit, that's it, nothing else. So obviously the only downside, of course, is I can only cook and eat one thing at a time and drink one thing at a time. But I thought on this occasion it would be worth just giving it a go and see how minimal we can get and how sort of comfortable it is. So it's a little bit cooler. Well, it's certainly cooler this time than it was last time, because it's clouded over. Sort of a high misty cloud at the moment. Just see that hill over there is just got a tiny bit of sort of misty cloud on it, not a lot. But it's definitely coming from the west this time. Last time the wind or the breeze was coming in this direction. Earlier on it was coming from the south, from that way, but it's definitely coming more westerly now, so I must admit I hope it doesn't swing around any more than that. I've lowered the sides here just a little bit lower because there was a breeze coming in. I've put it side to the wind because that's the only way that I can sleep here. I'm pretty sure this is the same place as last time, and it is a bit tussocky around here, so I'm pretty much limited to sleeping that way. So I have put it side on into the wind, but it's pretty low and streamlined, so I don't think that will be a problem. I've set the bivvy out pretty much in the middle with the mat. I've put the rucksack right at the end under the bivvy, and the quilt I've put inside, and then I've just got a t-shirt which I can put on later, and my pillow, of course. I'm never leaving my pillow behind unless I really find something lighter and better, but that is vital for a good night's sleep. And that's only 45 grams anyway. And obviously my leggings are in that pack there with my down gillet if I need it, which I doubt very much. But I thought it would be silly. I thought it would be silly to come out without, you know, an insulating layer of some description to be on the safe side. So I don't mind trying to go light, but not at the expense of, you know, comfort and of course safety. Which really go hand in hand together, because if you're not safe, you're probably not comfortable. And if you're not comfortable, you're probably not safe. Okay, I always said that I would always be honest and open up to anything that doesn't quite work. And there's one minor problem. Come with me. It's not a life-threatening problem. That's my shelter over there, and I've had to walk all the way over here and set up this stove down here out of the breeze, because I'm thinking that there was a little breeze coming in under the tarp, and I just couldn't light this. It just would not light. You pour meths in, and try as I might with a lighter, you know, I was never going to try a fire steel with this, but try as I might, I could not get that lit. With the breeze, because you're lighting the surface, it seems to blow it out before it's even started. So I came over here, and it took me ages over here to finally get it lit, but I did eventually. So I'll leave it over here for the moment. So I don't know whether it was me doing something wrong or what. That's something I'll check with Rand. But that's the Zelph Starlyte stove, and as you can see, and there is still meths in there. I just blew it out. But it's very efficient. Once it's going, it is efficient. It just does not seem to like the breeze. I'll try the Exped when I get them sometime. So anyway, that's my kitchen there. But I've never had that problem with the 1012 stove. I think that's because the liquid is down inside the stove, and you're getting the sparks inside the stove. And I've always been able to light that, but that was difficult to say the least. But I have got my meal in here. This is the couscous with chicken. I did not, a couple of things I left behind on this trip to keep the weight down. I did not bring any waterproofs at all. The only waterproof that I was relying on if it had rained, and again I checked the forecast, you know, very carefully, because I'm not one to take chances, but it is so warm that I felt that if I got wet, I wasn't going to catch a cold or get cold or anything like that, because it is warm. But this wind shirt will certainly keep a shower off, so I had this, and I did bring the rain kilt with me as well. Hello. When I was at home, it seemed like a good idea when I put the rain kilt over my shoulders, you know, a bit like Sherlock Holmes did. But it doesn't work in the breeze, so we can scrap that plan. But it worked at home, but not out here. So I don't think it will be very efficient wrapped around one's neck. Mind you, it might not be a bad idea wrapping it around my neck. So I think it's best use is as a kilt. Would you kindly walk this way? Just got to walk over to the kitchen. You see, we've got an abode and a kitchen on this trip. I may have found a trick for lighting it, I'm not sure, but it is going. What I did, and of course I probably can't really show very well, but what I did was I put the pot inside the cone, and I then held the pot and the cone together just about, and then sort of held it right over the burner, and then lit the burner, and then sort of held the lighter there as I was trying to sort of lower the pot and the cone down, and that did seem to light it again down here out of the breeze. So I'll try that another time. Hope that wasn't just a one-off, but at least I can have a cup of tea anyway. But yes, I'm not complaining about it or anything. You know, that's what this type of trip is all about, really. Is just you know, learning what does work and what doesn't work, and what conditions it works in and doesn't work in, and all that sort of thing. Right, well, the breeze died down, so I managed to light that again. So I'm back under or near the shelter. I've made a cup of soup. This one's a vegetable cup of soup, so I'll see what this is like. I must admit, I'm a right fussy git when it comes to food. So I've always had the chicken one before, and I must admit enjoyed that. I thought I'd try a vegetable one for a change, so I hope that's nice. The couscous meal with chicken, it was okay, and if you like a lot of couscous or you like a lot of rice and that sort of thing, then you'll probably be fine with it. It was just too much couscous for me. I think anything over 50% rice or 50% couscous, and this was 70% couscous, it was just too much. So I had about half or 3/4 of it, and I couldn't face it anymore. So I won't get that one again. But it was worth trying. But it's just cooling off just a little bit. It's not a lot, it's just a little bit cooler, but it's still well, it's 19 degrees at the moment. But I just thought I'd show you around the perimeter. I've deliberately got it pitched a little bit skew-iff because I wanted this side as close to the ground as possible. I could get it a little bit closer, in all honesty, but I didn't want it right to the ground because it's not that bad out here. So I thought some air going underneath wouldn't be a bad thing. Again, of course, I could lower the tail, but I really don't think any rain is going to reach back there, although we couldn't rule it out, but I would have said that's unlikely. But I could lower the back if necessary, and then I've raised this side up only really by the use of the long cords that I've put on it, just to give me some shoulder room on this side here, and you know, a little bit more airflow. So you can see the Bivi just billowing a little bit in the breeze. So I've got my water here, cooker I've put over here. I can move that over. I need some space to be able to get in and out around here. And then I've just put my other... So really all I've got is the shelter, Bivi, mat, pillow, rucksack hidden at the back, spare t-shirt, the air mat, cloud kilt, insulated vest in case I need it, plus leggings in there, and the map of course, stove, something to sit on, a waste bag. The blue bag is my first aid, food, and I've got a repair kit somewhere with my bathroom stuff in. I'm not quite sure where that is. It was just cooling off, so I put my down vest on, but now that sun's come out, it's warming up again. I just show you my shoes. Forget the colour of them, I'm not particularly bothered, no one can see them out here. And they're bottom of my body, so they're out of my view, walking through bogs and everything and long grass. These are the Innovate at 150. So they weigh 150 grams for a size 8 approximately. These are a size 9, so I think these are about 160 grams each. So they are incredibly light. They have a 0 drop or height gain, so in other words they are the same height all the way across. Most shoes and walking shoes that we buy, the heel would be raised a little bit, but these are completely you know, flat. And I must admit, you can feel through the sole. The sole is very light, so I'd not recommend these on rough rocky terrain because you'll feel that. But around here they were fine. I had no problem with them. I walked around about 25 kilometers. I think the last walk when I was here was about 28 kilometers to get here. Well, this time I definitely cut at least 1 or 2 corners, and I was fine, and I was on this rough, tussocky, grassy terrain for quite a bit of the walking, and no, I had no problem. In fact, it was so dry, my feet didn't even get wet until I went to get water just over here, and there's a bit of a boggy bit just back there that hasn't dried out. And I got my feet wet going in there, and that was the first time that I got wet feet at all today, and that's virtually unheard of on Dartmoor. It's almost impossible to walk around here without getting wet feet, but with all this lovely weather, it's dried everything up around here. So I found these very comfortable, and as I say, super light. There's just absolutely nothing to them at all. So I'll be wearing these around here again, probably more summertime. I'm not sure I'd wear them in the winter, but no real reason not to though. Could wear them anytime. I just thought I'd just take them off. It's about 7:15 now. So yeah, there's absolutely nothing to these shoes. They came with an insole, but it's supplied sort of separately because it already has a built-in insole inside. Although, because I always wear super feet, I still put the super feet in. But just to show you how soft these shoes are, I mean, look at that. It's crazy. So these are very soft, flexible shoes, and I must admit, as I say, I found them very, very comfortable walking around here. Just got to be a little bit careful with your toes, because obviously there's not much toe protection there, a little bit. So I must admit, I stubbed my toe a few times on things, but nothing really to worry about. So yeah, these were, so chuck away all those big heavy leather boots and grab some trail shoes. Maybe not quite as light as these, of course, but they're certainly good. Right, just a little bit from inside under here. Bless you. The cows are back over that way. But yeah, it's about 8 o'clock now, so still another hour and a quarter, hour and a half of daylight left. But it was just starting to cool off a little bit outside, so I thought it was just as wise and well to come under here now, get into bed and keep warm. But I must admit, it's quite comfortable here. was about 20 degrees or 19 degrees when I looked earlier, so it's not cold, but I was cooling off a little, so I thought this is the best place to go. This Half Moon Bivi, which again I've had for a year and a half or so, and of course I used on Dartmoor I think once last winter. It's definitely a little bit tighter inside, but I'm thinking I'm thinking it's designed for that purpose. I'm thinking the other one with the full head net, because it's got the full head net, deliberately gives you more room inside, whereas this one would give, obviously you can breathe through here, but you're protected from the elements more with this, with the back here. So if any rain did get blown in or something, I'm thinking you'd be pretty well protected from just a few splashes and that sort of thing. So excuse if you're looking at 20,000 double chins. I can't, there isn't enough room to sit up, I must admit. It's still quite comfortable though, it's not uncomfortable. I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to do it up or leave it undone for the night. I'll see. I have tied it up here, just put a loop in there and tied that up there. But I must admit, for getting in and out, you would still want to undo it, but that's easy enough with one hand. Probably easier to undo it one-handed than do it up one-handed. So that's what I can see out of this side here. Of course, that's the back end. And I can see that through there. As I say, I've got that side higher because if it does rain, the wind is blowing to my left, so that side, so that's why I've got that pitched much lower, and I'm pretty sure I'm far enough forward to be protected from anything coming in at the back. I must admit there aren't any bugs around either. There's been a few things. I think I've been bitten twice, one on my left hand by my watch, and I think something bit my right hand this afternoon because some blood was drawn. Right, well, morning is now here. It's just gone 7, about 7:15. I slept quite well. Yeah, I slept okay. Woke up a couple of times. I think I woke up about 5 thinking, well, I'll make a hot drink at about 6 or 6:30. And I obviously fell asleep again, because the next thing I knew it was just before 7. So I've made a cup of tea, and I've just put 400 ml of water on for 2 packets of Quaker Oats, which I brought with me. There's quite a lot of condensation under here, surprisingly. There was a rain shower during the night, which I heard, and a lot of mist, which is now lifting, although it's still misty, but it's definitely lifting a bit now. But yeah, there's a lot of, I don't know if you can see the drips, apart from me, but yeah, there's drips there, drips here, probably where I inadvertently touched it. So it just shows, even with a tarp, that I've got open front, back, or should I say back, front, sides. You still get condensation. In fact, this is bizarrely, this is the most condensation I've had under any shelter, and this is the most open that I've ever been. Well, forgetting two weeks ago, of course. And it wasn't really damp then, that was completely dry. So that's interesting. Or I can put the lid on my porridge. Well, not porridge, but the water. So I'm not quite sure how I'm going to get dressed and what have you. I'll probably... Really, it's just my trousers I've got to put on. Because I've put my nighttime trousers on. Just to get my trousers on. I kept my shirt on. I didn't bother with my t-shirt. I just kept my shirt on. It's definitely very cosy and warm inside the bivvy, I must admit. They certainly, definitely add warmth. That's unquestionable. So notice when I undid it and stuck my ugly head out, it was, you know, it was a bit of a bit cooler out. So they definitely do add a bit. I don't know, you might be a little bit misty. I'm not sure. I've looked at the lens and that looks okay. But what I'm going to try and do is it's pretty tight in here. So I've managed to extricate the quilt with a bit of jiggery pokery. I've sort of put my coat here, I've got the mat here, pillow here. So I've got a sort of a dry area here, and I've got the quilt here. So I'm going to carefully try and get it in this bag without the quilt touching anything wet or the roof, because once I've got the quilt protected, then I'm not really too bothered about anything else. But obviously the quilt and the down is what needs protection, and thankfully it's not cold, so even though my feet are just loose down there, you know, they're plenty warm enough down there. And I've put the porridge in there. Might have overdone the water a bit. Of course, that's the one disadvantage of a one pot system. You're obviously you know, having to put your water in and then, you know, using that same pot, so whatever water you've put in is what you've got to use. And I must admit, I quite like to sort of, you know, pour water in, but it's a different way of doing it. If you want to go lightweight, then you haven't got much choice. As I say, it's a good experiment. It's worth trying. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, as they say. Right, so I'm just going to put the sleeping bag away. Right, well, I've managed to put the sleeping bag away in there. And my leggings I've put in there. So you still look very misty, and I don't really quite know why. I've put my trousers on, and I managed to do that all from lying prone here. It was almost a case of, I don't know what that game is, or thingy like that, where you've got to sort of lower the doodah around an electrical field, and each time you touch, it would make a noise. I felt like that each time I nearly touched the wet inside of the tarp. You expect it to go beep burp, but it didn't, of course. But no, I must admit, I didn't touch it too much actually, only a couple of times, so it wasn't too bad. But I'm not sure I'd want to do this in the cold though, because it was quite slow, careful work. As I must admit, when it's cold, you want to get out of the sleeping bag and get stuff packed up pretty quickly, not in a fairly chilled out and relaxed manner like this. But to me, this was always going to be a fair weather shelter anyway, for me personally. I think I've put too much water in the porridge, so I'll have sloppy porridge in a minute. Well, someone put me right on how to deflate the Ultralight mat, and you put this little tag toggly thing that comes supplied or attached down sort of just gently behind the valve, so that's how you deflate that. That goes inside and behind. The bugs are just starting to come out now. They're late waking up, but they have woken up now. Right, so we'll practice leave no trace, so you can see where I was lying down in there. Just wanted to show you the pack. When I came out, the tarp I had on the inside, and as you can see, there's you know, stacks and stacks of room inside, because one, there's no tarp in there and most of my food is gone. So I would obviously easily get all of this stuff inside, but it's all wet, particularly the tarp. So I have to say that's where this mesh outer is really useful for, you know, stashing a wet tent or a tarp or something like that. And I just put the water bottles there. They could have gone inside, but again they're a bit wet. My meths I've put outside. It's nice to keep that away from stuff, and the pegs hidden under the gorilla pod. And then of course strapping's handy, because I can strap my roll mat to that and the gorilla pod to it. Well, the view today is somewhat different to yesterday and 2 weeks ago, and that's where I'm going to head up that hill, which we can just see. In fact, earlier it was completely gone, but we can just make it out now. The mist just suddenly came in about half an hour or so ago as I was packing up. Although it was here early, you know, during the night it went, but it's certainly come back, which was forecast. And I must admit, my original plan was to come here today and walk today, because that was after the cricket finished yesterday. But luckily, by pure coincidence, and I must admit I don't really believe in coincidences, the cricket finished a day earlier and I was able to come out yesterday, and I must admit I'm jolly glad I did, because the forecast for yesterday was like it was, sunny or sunny intervals, and the forecast for today is what it is, misty, and I wouldn't have enjoyed coming around here in this particularly, especially not by myself. So I must admit I do try to come out when it's reasonably pleasant. Obviously if the weather turns while you're out here, then you've got to deal with it, but I must admit if I can come out when it's nice, as I say, especially by myself, then that's much nicer. But I'm going to, it's 8:15 now, so a little bit, well, I'm not behind, but I don't know if I'm a bit later than last 2 weeks ago or not, to be honest. But anyway, I know it's only an hour back, so I'm going to start just put this on my back and get going. And I try and do a bit more later on. We'll see what the weather does. But if not, you know, thanks for watching, and no doubt we'll catch you all again soon. Thanks, bye.